First thing I wanted to say was black is beautiful, man. I just wanted to hop on and give you guys a insight on what my interactions have been like working for an all white company in 2019. Man, lately it already has been seeming like there's a lot of tension between uh, whites and blacks, and you know what I mean, and just foreigners from other countries, coming here with the assumption that all blacks are bad or all blacks are the same, or just having that white ideology, that white way of thinking. Period. You know what I mean? They've been coming here lately, and they've been assimilated into white culture, and so with that, they pick up a genuine hate for blacks. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, man, I've been working at this white owned company, man, predominantly young management. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking early 20s to early 30s. You know what I mean? Management and chiefs of the store. And I'm not gonna say that my entire time there was bad, because it wasn't. But since the beginning of the time I joined this company, there has been moments where, you know what I mean, I would notice, some tension between me and white counterparts there, that was in management. Um, just I don't know, like they come off to me like they were always trying to prove themselves to be better, you know what I mean, or superior, or trying to prove themselves to be able to, or trying to prove to me that they weren't cowards or something. You know what I mean? Like they haven't tried me at all. You know what I mean? So it's not like they tried to show me that they weren't no sucker or anything like that. But it was just always constantly they were on their toes whenever I approached. You know what I mean? Like it was just always tension, period, between us. And then I was probably it was only maybe about three black guys that worked there, period. Um, Everybody else is, either white or we got like one Indian lady, um, one Asian kid, but everybody else was pretty much white or, from a white culture. You know what I'm saying? So it was nothing but issues there with me, man. I mean, it wasn't anything that I could necessarily say happened, but it was always the feeling, of us not getting along every time we came around. You know what I mean? Like you would catch them kind of laughing at the black guy in the room. They wouldn't do it in your face, but they would kind of like subliminally laugh. You know what I mean? And you already know when someone's kind of talking about you. You get the feeling. You know what I mean? When it's about you. And I've always had that feeling working at this company. In the position that I was in, I used to be a merchandiser. I was a merchandising supervisor. So I used to be in charge of basically restocking the floors, and this is a company that specializes in like heavy material, you know what I mean? So I'm always restocking the floors, you know what I mean? And just putting up new price tags and making the store look good. So these guys would walk around, they would see me moving these heavy ass materials around through the store as I restock, and them seeing me in that position was funny to them. You know what I mean? Like it was sort of like modern day slavery. You know what I mean? And I'm not exaggerating this point. It was really like modern day slavery. You know what I mean? and it kept irking me. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't stand the feeling of having to work underneath these people and be humiliated at the same time. You know what I mean? Like it'd have been one thing if I came there and this was the job I had to do and I wasn't being supervised by these people while I was doing that job. But for me to be there and them to be there at the same time and to dehumanize my position, you know what I mean, definitely didn't sit right with me. You know, so that was that played a big part in why I couldn't stay at the job, man. Just because it was humiliating, man. It was dehumanizing, and it felt like modern day slavery, man. That's my only way of summing it up. These white kids walking around, feeling superior, watching a Negro, watching a A.D.O.S. Walk around at an establishment and do the heavy lifting, and do all of the heavy lifting all day long was kind of like their way of getting some humor out of the situation. You know what I mean? And then to top it off, man, management, we had no common interest, you know what I mean? And like I mentioned, the management staff was all young. It was from early 20s to early 30s, you know what I mean? So everybody was young. There was no experience with working around other blacks, you know what I mean? Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like that, there was a disconnect. There was no sense of pride, or you know what I mean, like brotherhood from working together. You know what I'm saying? There was none of that. It was always segregated. You know what I mean? Like I got coworkers that were one or two of the coworkers that were black. Maybe one of them will vouch for what I'm saying. Because he knows firsthand everything that was going on. He was one of the members on my team, so he definitely would be able to vouch for what I'm saying. But it was a lot of favoritism at the job, you know what I mean? It was, they had these two young Latino cats up there that was working with us. And not to mention, man, we've never given them any shit. Like, we never tried to go up there. And when I say we, I mean me and the other, black guy. We never tried to give them any tough guy act. You know what I'm saying? We never went up there with the intentions of running or controlling the company or the site, the building. We never came up there with any of that, that gangster shit. You know what I'm saying? We never came up there with that. Everybody was cool. We were all cordial. We were humble. We were just there to work and get some money, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? But, they just, I don't know, like they just couldn't just let us exist, man. We couldn't just be there and exist. You know what I'm saying? Without them having to give us sharp ass looks of almost disgust. You know what I mean? Like looks of they couldn't take being around us. You know what I'm saying? It was just all of those looks for day one, and I put up from day one, and I put up with that shit for about a good 7 months, man, 8 months, man. But the shit got too fucking humiliating for me to remain there, man. Like it was just ridiculous. Like they would have me go out and these pallets, man, we had to break these pallets down with material on them, and the pallets were like 4,000 plus pounds a piece, you know what I mean? And you could just imagine how many pieces are on this pallet if it adds up to 4,000 pounds, right? So it would be about 8 of those pallets. I would be the only one, sent to the back to complete the task of setting all of these materials up in the departments that they needed to go in. So, that was an issue that I took with them, but I've held it in for so long, and I just did the job because I had priorities and bills and responsibilities. So I suck it up, and I pretty much uh, try to look past it. But it comes to a boiling point, man, when you just gonna explode with all of the pressures of dealing with that type of shit. You know what I mean? So uh, I couldn't keep taking it, man. Even though I was supervisor, and I was supervisor, but I really didn't have no fucking responsibility. I just became supervisor on the simple fact that that I've been coming to work every day on time, and I was basically a good boy. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I became supervisor. But my position was never really taken serious from the other managerial staff. You know what I mean? And that's something I noticed from them too. You know, so yeah, man, it was just my experience, man, working for a white company in 2019 has just been fucking ridiculous, man. I don't think that corporations or companies should be um, handing over their company to young um, white kids who have no experience, as in working out there with diverse uh, with a diverse group of people. You know what I mean? I don't think they ready for that yet. I think they have to be put through a course of life first. You know what I mean? And that's meeting other people and learning about other cultures and shit. They weren't humble at all, man. These were just snobby white kids. In their 20s and early 30s, but they were snobby white people, man. And yeah, I can no longer stay there, man. I can no longer stay there. It was back to the guy I was telling you guys about. He was about 50 years old, um, and he walks he walks in a managerial meeting one day, trying to talk slang, talking about we here. Like, come on, man. You know how inappropriate is that for somebody of his age in his position to be walking in a staff meeting with the only uh, it was only one black person, which was me, in that meeting. Everybody else was maybe Asian, or yeah, it was Asian, and then like Mexican, and then like a white guy. So like nobody in there talks slang or come from a background or a culture where they speak slang. So what made you, a 50-year-old man, want to come into this meeting, which is supposed to be a professional setting, and use slang? You know what I mean? Sort of to demean my English language. You know what I mean? That's exactly what he did it for. He did it so that he thought everyone was going to laugh at him saying that, was going to laugh at me because he said it, basically. You know what I mean? Because he said it in that tone, in that broken English tone, he thought everyone was going to kind of, he thought everyone was going to resonate that with being me. You know what I mean? And that wasn't the case. Then nobody paid attention to it, and I was happy nobody did. But that was one of my final straws in there, man. Like I wasn't feeling that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like how racist can you guys get? Like, all of this time I've been working here at this company with you guys, and the shit isn't getting old to you yet. You know what I mean? I thought it was like a phase. Like I was just gonna have to get through this phase of, of working around these people for a certain amount of time, and then they'll become adjusted. You know what I mean, to seeing me here or something every day, man. And that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, these people did a lot of inappropriate, unprofessional shit you know, to me, either subliminally or directly, you know what I mean, while I was there. And they thought that I wasn't the type of motherfucker that would catch on to that. But damn near all of the staff there, if you weren't black or you didn't come from that kind of culture, damn near all of the staff in there was prejudiced. Definitely. Damn near all of their ass were prejudiced, man. And it was just something I couldn't take no more. Yeah, man, I had to get out of there, man. I said I'd rather struggle trying to create my own business. You know what I mean? I'd rather struggle trying to create something of my own than working for those people and having to deal with the shit that I had to deal with there. You know what I mean? It's just not worth it. Having to dehumanize or demean yourself in order to fit someone else's narrative, you know, of what you should be like, or you know what I mean, or who you are. You know what I mean? It just wasn't worth it to me. So I decided to quit the position. I decided to resign.